All right, welcome to Couch Convo. I am Kiki, and my purpose in life is to help people feel capable, informed, and empowered in their own bodies through movement, education, and realistic health guidance. I am honored and happy because I'm here with one of my bestest friends in the whole world. This is my sis. Her name's Liz. Liz is a licensed clinical social worker, and she decided to come up here on Couch Convo tonight and talk to you guys about healing, emotional healing, cognitive behavioral therapy techniques. She's also helped me in life. So thank you, Liz, for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited.
I am as well. This was a long time coming. I've been bugging her for months. And
this is my favorite topic ever.
Love it.
Yeah.
So she helped me at a point in my life where I didn't think I was going to make it. So I wanted to share her knowledge with you all because she's very important and has a lot to tell you guys tonight. So let's get going. I just drove forever. I left work at 2:45. Got here at 6:05. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I need something. So what is a good coping skill I can do right now to bring myself down?
Right now, I think
Right
you need
now.
to grab your glass of water that I got you.
It's over there.
And you need to just take your feet up on the couch and just make yourself comfortable.
Well, I don't want to reach in front of everybody, so I'll just pretend I'm drinking water.
Even when people come into my office, I always tell them, grab some water, grab some coffee. I even have, the eye patches, and just take your shoes off and get comfortable because I want everyone to just feel engaged and comfortable in their own space.
I love it. It's like a spa in your office. Oh
absolutely.
My gosh.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty tonight, guys. What does mental health truly mean beyond anxiety and depression?
Yeah. So mental health, I'm glad you brought up the depression and anxiety portion because everyone always thinks mental health means diagnosis. And that's absolutely not what mental health is. Mental health is just our thoughts, our feelings, and the way we cope with it in our environment.
Okay. All right. So thoughts and feelings and the way we cope within our environment.
Yeah.
And you're right, because when we mention the word mental health, immediately someone's like, oh, I have depression, I have anxiety. We're immediately diagnosing ourselves.
Yeah.
We're on Google. We're like, well, I have this symptom, that symptom, that symptom, that
Yeah.
symptom. And sometimes we might just need to take a breather and stuff's jumbled in our head.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I was talking about how our minds as women, we have like a million clouds in our head.
Yeah.
And then you compare it to our male counterpart, there's one cloud and that is it. And we have multiple clouds in our head.
Yes.
I swear mine has been in there since I've been born, but you're absolutely right. So what are some signs that stress has moved beyond normal stress versus something's more serious? Like I really need to get checked.
So I would look at signs such as insomnia.
Okay.
Maybe oversleeping, overeating, undereating. With females, it's so interesting because with us, it really honestly could be anything, right? So we're looking at feeling more exhausted. If you're a parent, maybe you're not as intertwined with what your children are doing at that moment. You're feeling a little foggy. You find yourself staring off into the distance. You're feeling it physiologically. So your shoulders are tight. Maybe you're feeling not that you're typically shaking externally, but internally you're feeling it right here.
Yeah.
And it's that heaviness and that feeling where you're feeling an elephant on you. So maybe at that point I would take a moment and say, okay, is this how I normally am? Or am I starting to increase these symptoms? Maybe I should go talk to someone.
Okay. I would say I agree with that. Mm-hmm. I remember being in, when I was getting my bachelor's in health and wellness, in public health, one of the, activities that we had to do was to write down how we would decrease our stress using our body.
Yeah.
And I know, like me, I know some of you may be like this. When I have like tension headache, it sits right here.
Yeah.
It's like an elephant, not on my chest. It's on the back of my suboccipitals. Those are my physical therapy friends knows what those are. Back here, and it's like somebody's just sitting there and it's weighing me down. Yes. So in class, the exercise was write how you would de-stress from that. Like, what would you unclench? Immediately somebody's probably thinking butt cheeks. No, we're talking about from head down. What would you unclench to relax yourself? So I literally would have to like strain my neck and be like, okay, now relax my neck. It's like a contract, relax. We use that a lot in our physical therapy world when stretching our patients too.
Well, here's another part of that. The interesting thing is that before you can even sit there and know how you're going to relax that part of the body, right? Because it goes further than just trying to relax it,
right?
Is identifying where it is.
True.
Because sometimes, and more so for females and males, we have it from head to toe.
Yeah.
And we're not able to identify exactly where it sits. So it's sitting down, just in a quiet space and going, okay, where am I feeling this?
Yeah.
Pinpointing, okay, here, what is it that I'm feeling here? Okay, as you were saying, back here, what is it that I can identify? Writing that down and then going into, okay, now what am I going to do the next step?
So you mentioned journaling. Journaling is also one of the questions I have on here for later.
Oh, yes.
So my next question is, does women experience stress and emotional burnout differently than our male counterparts?
Oh my gosh, yes.
This is going to be good.
100%. I love that question because you have to look, men and females, we have different roles to begin with, right? We have the protector provider,
Right.
We have the caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to tell you that we're caregivers, what do you think is the number one strain in our life?
Taking care of somebody and giving yourself up to help someone else.
Right. And that's what we were raised to do ever since we were little. You take care, you're last.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine that stress when you're sitting there, you're, as me, Liz. So I'm Liz, the partner, Liz, the mom, divided by 4, Liz, the job, Liz, the instructor, Liz, the friend, Liz, the student, right? So it's all these different counterparts, and it's sitting there trying to realize that's a lot.
Yeah, that it is.
Right? So absolutely, stress and everything is just looked at differently.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Men are very, like you said, one clouded.
Yeah.
Right? And they sit there in their thought and they're able to say, okay, protector, provider, what does that look like? They think more cognitively, go. For females, it's our heart, our emotions. And we're sitting there and we start feeling guilt and shame. Those are some heavy emotions.
They are.
Right? I always have a lot of females that come in and they always confuse guilt with another emotion.
Give me an example of that.
So for an example, let's say you're a single mom and you're tired. You don't want to you don't want to drive everyone everywhere.
No, we're not chauffeurs or Ubers.
Yes. So immediately what happens? You feel guilty.
Yeah, you do.
Because you're like, well, my son needs this. My daughter needs to go here. Okay, I'm going to get up and go. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So then if you don't do it, what happens? Your guilt sets in.
Oh,
but really, it's not even guilt. You're confusing guilt with exhaustion.
Got it. Okay.
Right? So that's where the stress comes in.
Yeah.
We are unable to label the actual emotion that we have, and we confuse that with shame and guilt.
You guys hear that? So yeah, I can see how that would be so, because it's like you said, oh, I got to do this, got to do this, got to do this. And it's like, oh, I feel guilty. No, you're tired. Yeah. You're exhausted. Think about it. If you're like me, you get up at 4:30 in the morning, you go all day long, right? That's not an exaggeration. I go all day long, get in bed at maybe if I'm lucky, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Almost working on 24 hours, get up, do it all over again.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Yes.
Not that, oh, I couldn't do it, I feel guilty about it. No, I'm tired. I'm tired, y'all.
But guess what? You get up and you're like, why? Because I have to do it.
I have to do it.
Because I have people I have to care for.
I do.
And then lastly, I have to care
for
myself.
I'm last. Yeah. Last on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. First should be made last and last should be made first. We coming up, guys. All right, my next question. So with being last, the next question actually is a great segue, because the question is, why do so many women feel guilty when prioritizing themselves?
Because we were raised to do so.
Okay.
That's our role. It's the same thing for men, protectors, providers. If they're unable to provide and protect for us, they don't feel like they have accomplished the role. And it's the same thing for us. If we're unable to provide care for our family, our children, and our husband in the way that they need it, we don't feel fulfilled.
So it's almost like we need to rethink our childhood. Like, wait a minute, the way we were brought up, it molds and shapes us into the way we are today.
Well, not only that, but then also think about it. Look at how society depicts us now.
Oh yeah, it's a system.
So not only do you have the narrative and the vision of how you were when you were a child and how you were raised, but now you're having to look at, what are people expecting of me today?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's honestly a lot for males and females.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does chronic stress affect a woman's nervous system over time?
Oh man.
So now this is one of your specialties here, talking about the nervous system.
The nervous system and trauma-related impact. That is huge. It's really sometimes difficult. I can sit here and say, obviously it's going to take it, as I was saying, shoulders up, our nervous system. We're unable to focus. We'll have a lot of hormonal imbalances. We'll gain weight, not be able to lose weight, etc. It affects all of us. It's a medical thing,
right?
As well. But the reality is, you can never really depict how somebody's nervous system is going to react without knowing their story.
Okay.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Because trauma is not linear.
No.
And neither are our nervous systems.
No.
Right?
That's deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does stress affect us? How does it affect us over time, though? So our nervous system, of course, we were born with it, we have it.
Of course.
So would you say that how we're brought up as a child, and then over time with the experiences that we have, the trauma that we have, it eventually is going to affect our nervous system in a way that it will present itself older in life versus as a child?
It is going to show up later on in life. And the interesting part is that it probably already showed up before. You were not able to identify it because your nervous system was not lit yet.
Okay.
It was shut off.
Okay.
As you get older, stress accumulates, right? I always tell people, think about trauma and stress as a JanSport backpack. You're walking around life, and every place that you're going, you're picking up more things, and you're sticking it in the backpack, and you're sticking it in the backpack. After a while, what's happening to that backpack?
It's gonna be heavy.
It's heavy. It's not
full
gonna be
of
able
junk.
to close. You're not gonna have any more room, and then on top of that, it's gonna break,
right?
Or it's gonna make you fall.
Yeah.
That's your nervous system.
Wow. So we're talking about a childhood and nervous system over time.
Yeah.
Is it true that, for an example, when we're younger, I don't know if you had parents like I had, or my grandmother, should I say, I couldn't really express how I felt. Like, there's no crying. I'll give you something to cry about. How many of y'all heard that line? Don't cry. I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
Don't be mad. It's your fault. Just anything to where they're suppressing my emotions. But as an adult, I never got a chance to express those emotions. Yeah. So now they're coming out as an adult.
So here's the thing. It's not that you weren't able to express them as an adult, right? You have to look at it a little bit deeper. It's that you were never taught how to express them.
No, never got them looked
at
as a child.
So if you're not taught how to express them as a child, which is when you're learning about yourself, how are you going to be able to express that as an adult? And that's when all of a sudden emotional explosions happen, right? Instead of saying, I was wrong, it's, why are you doing this, right? In a relationship, instead of saying, I'm hurt, somebody gets angry.
Yeah.
You get confusion in your emotions.
Yeah. And it's amplified in relationships too, because 100%. You can't even understand your own emotions, let alone somebody else's, right? That's I can't talk tonight, guys. Emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Like being able to understand your own emotions first, and then like, okay, what is this person saying? What are they trying to portray? But then we have to look at our emotions because they're signals. They're telling us what's going on. We just got to stop, look, and listen to what these signals are and what they're trying to say.
Yeah, but imagine trying to regulate somebody else's emotions when you've never been able to regulate your own.
Oh, no, that's right. That's going to be a huge issue.
Yes.
And if both of you have the same problem too, where they can't express theirs, they don't understand their own emotions, and then I don't understand mine, and two people are talking, they're communicating, speaking different languages, and the translation is just lost.
The translation.
Nobody knows who's saying what.
Absolutely.
So let's go over some coping mechanisms tonight, guys. What are some healthy coping skills people can begin to do, like right now?
So obviously you got the basic coping skills of, deep breathing, you've got grounding skills, you've got journaling, you have counting, you have being able to go and sit in a quiet space, you have music, you have taking a walk, talking to a friend, whatnot. Whenever anybody ever asked me, okay, Liz, I need coping skills right now, I always ask them, okay, tell me what you like to do. What do you like to do that is not a chore? Because if I give you a coping skill, let's say, obviously you and I love working out,
right?
But let's pretend you did not. And I said, your coping skill is going to the gym 5 times a week, but that's a chore for you. Are you going to do it?
No.
And if you do it, how are you going to feel?
I'm going to feel terrible.
Right.
Matter of fact, I may drive in the parking lot and do a U-turn.
So the reality is that a coping skill is going to be each person, whatever they enjoy doing.
Okay.
Right? That's the first step. The second step is making sure it's not a chore for you to do it and accomplish it. And the third one is making sure that that coping skill, that mechanism that you're utilizing to not go do maybe a negative behavior or just to be able to help regulate your nervous system, is something that actually you've seen in the past it helps you. So for an example, I always ask people, tell me at least 5 coping skills that you can utilize daily. Right? Journaling. Are you going to be able to journal on aisle 5 at Walmart? No. Right? Journaling is more of a private thing at home.
Right.
Somebody, horseback riding, that's great, but you can't go to school and horseback ride.
No.
So it's something that you can do in all different environments that isn't exhausting for you, and something that you know is going to give you that ability of dopamine, a little bit of endorphin to be able to actually go and do it.
Yeah. So it's very important that regardless of what's going on at that moment, you hear a lot, because nowadays we're on the hustle and bustles. Quick, gotta do this, gotta do that. I know, like for me and some of my coworkers, there's a patient every 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like the most important thing is to find the time to even do that coping skill.
Yeah.
Could you explain to our audience how important it is to be able to find time to do that? Because I mean, I don't have time. It's like the biggest thing we have nowadays, but what about us, and what about what we need to do at that moment to not have that stress or deal with whatever's going on in our mind? So explain to them how important it is to make time to do that, please.
It is, oh my gosh, I could not even express to everybody out there how important being able to take time just for yourself, to be able to self-regulate, to cope, to be able to make sure that you're healthy internally, not just externally, because that honestly is going to depict everything that you do daily, from the moment you wake up till you go to sleep. And even through sleep studies, they've noticed that our sleep gets dysregulated if we're not regulated.
That's so true.
Right?
Yeah.
It is so important. So if you make time, which I don't even really like that word, to be honest with you, but if you make time to go to the gym, you make time to go to work because you're going to get paid, you make time to go to your child's recital because they're important to you, it's the same time that you need to be able to display for self-love and self-appreciation.
Right. Some of those coping skills can maybe take 30 seconds if it's just breathing.
Absolutely.
Listening to your favorite song, like you said.
Here's something, what I do, and I think that everybody who knows me you're probably surprised I don't have it right now. I always have gum in my mouth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Right?
What's up, sis?
Right?
And she's like this tall to me. I'm looking down. She's, what's up, sis?
Yes.
Chewing that gum.
And I didn't do it right now because I was like, I know I'm going to be munching on
the
the
microphone's like right there.
Right here. And you're going to hear it. But I always have gum in my mouth. That's my coping skill that I utilize all the time. Why? Chewing gum for me allows me to pay attention. It keeps me grounded, and it keeps me able to listen.
Okay.
Instead of perceiving. And that's super important when you're doing therapy.
Yeah, I know me, I used to wear this widget ring that it spun.
Yeah.
Because, when I'd have like those anxious moments, I just spin it. But that helped me.
Yeah.
What are some grounding techniques someone can use during moments of anxiety?
So we were talking about this before we even started.
Sure did.
This, right? So so I'm going to tell you the basic grounding method, right? So it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can smell, 2 things, et cetera, right? So it's basically utilizing all of your senses.
Okay.
And the reason why this is so important, and it's one of my favorite ones, for anxiety, for depression, for moments of increased stress, for anything, right? Even for parenting.
Okay.
Because, I love my children, but they can get us stressed out, right?
Oh.
Even for those moments, it's a great ability to utilize our senses. And what that does, it allows us to center ourselves in the moment and not what we feel the moment is.
Okay.
Right? Because our thoughts are probably amplifying that.
Right.
They're catastrophizing exactly what's happening at that moment, right?
Right?
So what I normally do is, because like we were talking off screen, if somebody comes in with me and their anxiety from a scale from 1 to 10 is at an 8, I don't want to increase the stress by saying, okay, tell me 5 things that you can see right now in my room.
That'll make things worse.
Right?
I know for me it would.
Yeah. So I always start off with, let's just identify one. What's your favorite sense? That's the first thing that I would do. What is your favorite sense? For me, obviously I chew gum. So it's taste.
Taste. Okay.
Right? So that's for mine. The second one is something I can see. So you can pick, like, for instance, you were like, oh, look at that up on the wall. You're looking at it, identifying it. That's something that's going to center you. And what it does is kind of playing tricks on your mind to let it know, hey, we really are not going to start thinking about this, and we're not going to start doing all these distortions in our thoughts, and we're going to start looking at something and we're okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're safe right now.
Yeah.
For
like
right
that.
now, we're safe.
I like that. So just pick one, guys. You don't have to
just
do
pick
the
one.
whole 5.
Just pick one and then go from there.
Okay. Can trauma become stored in the body physically?
1,000%. Actually, trauma, before we even recognize it cognitively, we realize it physiologically. There's a great book, The Body Holds the Score. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
Sis, what? I have it upstairs.
Perfect.
It is a great, great book. And pretty much what it's talking about is how our body identifies the triggers before we're even aware that they exist. So for an example, what we were talking about, childhood, and then with the emotions and adulthood, think about how many times, and I'm sure you guys can think about that too, how many times we get triggered and we don't even realize that was a trigger. Or how many times have you heard, I know I've heard this a lot, is, man, I did not know I had trauma till I came and I sat here with you.
Yeah.
Right? I knew something was bothering me, but I couldn't identify it. So what do? I sit down, we do a trauma timeline, which is everything from your childhood.
You had me do that.
I did.
Yeah,
if you think about it, write about it, and we talk about it, right? Yeah. And that's how you start identifying things that have happened. No matter how small, how big, you write it on right there. Because for me, trauma, there is no big, small, it's trauma.
Yeah.
And then that's what you do.
I remember she had me do that exercise, guys. It's on a piece of paper. So if you guys have a piece of paper now, or you can do this later, like she said, you write down the beginning to up until this point, a timeline of things that's happened in your life. And there was a period of time where I was writing and I was like, oh my gosh, there was a huge gap because I completely lost. Like, for example, I lost where I was and who I was from the age of 16 to 19. Like, that is, I remember being happy. I remember, I was cheering, I ran track, I went to college, but that person I was then was a strong person and independent. And mind you, I'm still living under my parents' roof, but I was a totally different person than the person I was before I am the person now. I know that probably doesn't make sense, but makes sense in my head. But there was a time where I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was this great person, like, oh my God, I got to know this person. Then all this stuff happened in my life and it made me a different person. And now I'm a different person. But at that point, I could not remember who I was. I know I liked that person and I wanted to be that person again. You know what I mean? So definitely try to do that timeline, guys, if you get the time to do that. And just write out, like she said, you'll find areas where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that happened.
And if you have areas on there, because I've had a lot of times where people are, I honestly don't remember from ages 8 to 12, for an example. And that's absolutely okay. You mark it on there and you say unable to remember. Because as you're working through the timeline with a therapist, with a professional, they're going to be able to assist you in opening those gaps. Because that's honestly, that gap is just your brain protecting you. And so we have to go deep into that box and kind of open it up and see exactly what's going on right there.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to go into some cognitive behavioral therapy techniques.
My favorite.
First of all, what is CBT?
CBT is my favorite therapeutic method. I think I utilize it 95% of the time, if not all the time.
Okay.
So CBT is pretty much, just to summarize it, it's thoughts, feelings, behaviors. How you think is how you feel, and how you feel is how you're going to behave.
Makes sense. For an example, this is also something she helped me with years ago. Let's say, for example, it was, my friend Veronica didn't call me. She's mad at me about something. It's something I did. And right now the emotion I'm feeling, I'm worried and I'm angry that she didn't call because she said she would and she didn't. And then you were like, okay, what if something was wrong? What if she fell asleep because she was really tired from an exhausted day? And immediately my emotions started to change. I was feeling the anger and the worried to, oh, I understand because I'm tired too. So I get it. Immediately, I was no longer angry.
Yeah.
So could you explain how you connected to, for the example, like kind of what I used just now?
Yeah, sure. So like I was saying, CBT is thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So the initial thing is what we're thinking, right? When we have an initial thought, what normally is going to be a very reactive thought.
Mostly negative.
Right? Yeah. So I always utilize in therapy, think of a system that I made up, which is stop, pause, choose. Right? It's pretty much thoughts, feelings, behaviors.
Okay.
So you
pause,
stop.
choose.
You have the thought. Allow yourself to have the thought. Many times when we have those distorted thoughts, we think that we have to completely throw them away, get rid of them. They're wrong. They might not be, right? It gives you a moment to stop for a second with that initial thought. And I always ask people right then and there, you get to decide evidence by what?
I'm sorry, you lost me.
Catch up, Kiki.
You guys have no idea the stuff's in my head. I'm like, next question. What is she saying? Yeah, did I leave the keys in the car? I'm sorry. Go ahead. That's reality, guys.
That's all right. So
okay.
I love this. And this is our coping skill.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay. So thoughts.
Yes, thoughts.
Right? It's normally a reactive thought.
Correct. Which
right?
is mostly negative.
I don't want you to throw that thought away because it's fair for you to have that thought.
Right.
Right? So that's your stop.
Stop. Pause.
Right? We're not even going to go to pause yet. So it's stop, pause, and choose, which is thoughts, feelings, behaviors. But we're going to stop for a second and just allow yourself to have that thought.
Okay.
At that moment, always ask yourself, evidence by what do I have this thought?
Evidence by what I see.
But how is it evidential? If I asked you, remember, like the example that you used, oh, she has to be mad at me.
Oh, yeah.
Evidence by what? Did she tell you that she was mad?
She told me nothing.
No. Is it normally she mad at you? No.
No.
So then we really don't know. So now you get to go to choose or pause. I'm sorry. We're going to go to pause. All right. So now we know that there was no evidence by it.
Nope.
So then there was no evidence. How are we going to start having a different thought process? Right. So at that point, it's, well, maybe she didn't call me because she took a nap and didn't wake up on time for the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Maybe she got stuck in traffic. Her phone died.
Yeah.
Something, right?
Yeah.
And now at that point, you get to choose. Am I going to continue with that negative thought or am I going to continue with a more positive one?
Well, if she's really my friend, I care about her, and go with the more positive thought, making sure she's okay. You know what I'm saying? Versus, oh God, forget her. Block, you know.
Yeah. And you know, this is not saying that sometimes that initial thought process is not correct, but I always tell people before you depict an emotion to it and you react in a behavior, ask yourself, is this evidential? Is it a fact or is it a distortion?
Okay. So you can actually do all that in real time, like when while it's happening, not later, not tabling it for now. You can do it at that moment.
No, you can do it right at that moment.
Pause.
Stop, pause, and choose.
Choose. Okay. Stop, pause, choose.
Thoughts, feelings, behaviors.
Thoughts, feelings, behaviors. I love it. Don't do like me and blank out and go to Cancun somewhere mentally.
You can do that too if that's your coping skill. It's okay.
Okay. We talked earlier about journaling. Can journaling be used as a CBT tool?
It can. Journaling can be a tool for anything.
Okay.
Right? I always tell people, men, females, adolescents, older individuals, I always ask them to journal or bring a journal with you. And a lot of them, I always get the side eye, the rolling eyes, because when you think of journaling, what do you think journaling is?
Writing forever stuff, everything I went through the
Dear
day.
diary at 8 a.m. I did. Yes, that is a style of journaling. If that's something that you're interested in, I think that's great. But I'm going to give you guys a whole new sense of what journaling is for you, right? So if you guys want to go and get a journal today with pens that you love, do it. Journaling for me is not Dear Diary. Journaling for me is whatever's comfortable for you. If that day you needed to paint a picture, you draw a picture. If that day it was just a rainbow with different colors and that's what you can identify as your journaling, that's it. If that next day it's numbers, if the next day it's a song, if the next day it's words, then that's fine. A journal is not for somebody else to be able to read. It's for you to understand. Right. So if you can understand why you did that rainbow that way, and you can go to therapy or you can go and just look at it again a year from now and understand it, that's journaling.
Okay. So
it's not complicating it. I'm so about just making everything easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything's simple now. You know?
Not making it a chore.
Yeah. I have a journal next to my bed.
Yeah.
I journaled about maybe a month ago. Prior to that, it'd been January.
Yeah.
So it's like, so consistency is important.
Consistency is, of course, important. But you know what? Give yourself some grace if you don't. That's okay.
So, what are some simple breathing techniques people can use daily? I know you said, I know in therapy we talk about the diaphragmatic breathing, which also helps with, pelvic floor
Of
therapy
course.
as well.
Yeah.
So, do you have a particular, for example, inhale for 3, exhale for 6? Like, what is
So
your
we use 4,
okay?
right? So it's inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4.
And what can that do to our nervous system? Just
So
doing
it
that
allows
breathing.
you to, and I think we talked about this a little bit too, is it's really the beginning of mindfulness,
Mhm.
and it allows you to just center yourself where you are right now and tell your own nervous system you're safe, you're present.
So it's a lot of it is our bodies, our nervous system
Yeah,
protecting
it
ourselves
is.
from, like
It
you said,
is.
could be some trauma that we didn't even know we had, or because things have happened before. It's just like, I remember that. We're not going to go there. We're going to start panicking now because this is and this is going
Or
on.
I'm going to start panicking internally and I don't even know where it came from.
No clue.
Right?
Yeah. Can therapy help even if someone doesn't have a diagnosed mental illness?
Absolutely. Obviously, being a therapist, maybe a little biased, but I think everybody should have a therapist, right? Because it's honestly just a third party person,
Mhm.
no judgment, no interaction with anybody that you know, that you can just sit there and have a really good conversation about, hey, I'm having these excessive stressors at this moment. Help me.
Yeah. And there's other ways you can reach therapists too. It doesn't have to be,
No.
in a setting that now
Mhm.
there's phone numbers you can call. Do you
Mhm.
have a particular online company that you know of that people can call today or log into today to get some help?
So there, I don't have any offhand. There's some, of course, when you have crisis,
Hmm.
you'd call 988 as
Okay.
far as for crisis line. But the biggest thing I would recommend is to search out there, depending on how you feel comfortable being able to talk to a therapist. There's texting therapists,
Okay.
there's talk therapy, there's all of that. And whatever you feel more comfortable, whether it's virtual, in person, and everything, there's always something out there for everybody.
What is the difference between coping and healing?
Oh, that's such a good question. Coping, I love to say, is a band-aid method. Is
No.
just the way that we're able to get by day. And healing is understanding the emotion and the trauma that we're trying to cope daily.
Because if you heal, you don't have to no longer wear the band-aid.
And if you actually understand that you're never fully healed, you're in always healing and recovery, is even better, because you have to give yourself grace, knowing,
Yes. Otherwise, we
right?
beat ourselves up every day. I know I would.
There's people that come to therapy, and I've had people for 2-3 years, and they're like, Liz, I shouldn't even be sitting here anymore. And I'm like, why? And they can never explain that to me. And I'm like, there is no why,
We're always
right?
healing.
We're always healing. We're always growing. We're always, having new adventures. Our journey is nonstop.
So for those of us that sometimes, I know I'm hard on myself. I know some people are probably hard on
Yeah.
themselves as well. We have to give ourselves grace.
Mm-hmm.
Healing is a process,
Yes.
and as long as you're alive, you're gonna be healing from something.
Always.
You know,
Always.
and those coping skills help us to get through our healing process. So
Yeah.
they're not the same, but one does help the other to happen.
Of course.
Almost wrapping up here, guys. What does protecting your peace truly mean physiologically? I'm sorry, psychologically.
Psychologically, I'm so glad that you used the word peace and not happiness.
No, because happiness
Right?
is a
Because
state of being.
happiness is a momentary emotion, just as anger and sadness, right? Peace is something that you can actually define, which is going to be different for all of us.
Mhm.
So, how do you do that psychologically? Understanding that chaos and disruption is not healthy.
Okay. Even in relationships.
In relationships, interpersonally, externally, even with your children, with your spouse, with yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's where
deep.
peace comes, is from being able to understand that living in that constant state of chaos is not necessary. It's okay to change.
What are some first steps towards healing for someone who's feeling stuck?
Man, that's a great question.
Yeah, because what do I need to do to heal? I know I need to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing anything about it momentarily.
Yeah.
I want to heal, but I feel stuck.
I would say, and I know this is probably not the answer that anybody wants to hear, it's accepting that you need to heal.
Yeah.
right? There's such a stigma and such a misrepresentation of, oh, if you're healing, if you need to heal, something's wrong with you.
Mm.
And that's not what healing is. Healing is just any type of journey. Like I was saying, it's just whatever journey you've lived, the journey you are living, and the journey you want to live.
Yeah.
So the first thing is acknowledging, understanding, accepting,
Yeah.
and then figuring out what steps you need to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether that's group therapy, individual therapy, couples therapy.
And my final question, can healing require grieving old versions of yourself?
Oh my gosh.
I felt that one. I felt that one right there.
Wow. I really felt that one. Like it actually choked me up a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah. So, wow. Yeah, it does. I think that if you are not grieving versions of yourself, you're not healing.
I agree with that.
Right?
Yeah.
And grieving the versions of yourself as you heal doesn't mean that they no longer exist. You still have taken portions of them. And I actually encourage people to take portions of those pieces of you with you because they're part of you. That's what made you.
They are. Yeah. Our life experiences. I once had a friend tell me I was so lost in finding my purpose and what am I supposed to be doing with my life? And she said, your life is your purpose. Your life is your ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you've done and have lived up to this point is to give back. We learn to give back. We grow so we can give back. We can help someone else.
Yeah.
Along the way. What would you like to tell our audience tonight? We're closing out, guys, and then we're going to take questions. What would you like to tell our audience tonight? Anything that you want to leave the beautiful women out there or men listening to the podcast tonight?
I'm really simplistic with words, and I just feel that this word, I always utilize it in every single therapy session that I talk to individuals. If I had to give you any encouragement for you to carry with you daily, is to remember the word grace. Right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest word I would leave for you.
Grace.
Yes.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Oh, my buddy.
I love you.
I love you too. Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, always.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Put on my glasses so I can read. I sound like my sister. All right, guys. Questions? Any questions before we close out? Hi, Miss Anna. Hey, Aunt P. Hey, Danny. Hey, Drakel. Coping is versing healing. Yeah, absolutely. Any questions before we close out, guys? You have about 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Comments at all. Something that can help someone. You asked all the questions I wanted to ask you. Thank you.
And we'll be back for a part 2 eventually.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because this is mental health awareness month. Yeah, guys. That's why I'm doing another. I'm actually interviewing a friend tomorrow. She's a life coach. I'm going to post that one. That one will not be live, but mental health is real. We're not, like I said, we're not surviving, we're healing and we're thriving. We have to heal. We have to give ourselves grace. Thank you, Miss Alicia. Anyone else? All right, guys, we are out of here. Give me a second to close out. I will see you guys live again in June the 19th. We are going to be talking more on the pelvic floor. Okay. And we're going to be talking about devices we can use for healing the pelvic floor. And some devices for fun for the pelvic floor. But anyway, that will be June 19th. Very important. We will be visited again by Dr. Jane Medica. She was on with me last month. So prepare for that. Love, your life is your purpose. Amen to that. Yeah. Lisa Rogers, good friend of mine in ministry, told me about that. But anyway, God bless you guys. Have a great night. And we'll see you next month. Bye. All right. Let's end this live.